Good evening, Trump family. Welcome to Open Source News. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notifications bell so you don't miss a thing. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news. The Hill has reported to insiders close to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis believe he's about to run for president. One insider stated, "I think his mind is pretty much made up at this point." Despite his state of mind, he's reportedly waiting a few more months before publicly announcing it. Big factor behind his decision is momentum, which DeSantis has on his side right now. If he stands up to Trump in 2024, then he could win. If he doesn't, there's no guarantee that people will care about him in 2028. So he's going to have to make a decision on whether to go up against Donald Trump and whoever the Democrats put forward. While DeSantis may be popular now, ABC News host Alyssa Griffin, who worked for Trump, stated that she believes DeSantis is overhyped. She stated, "I've seen Trump take out every mini version of Trump over the last 5 years and insults are ticking up." Trump recently shared a photo of what looked like a 23-year-old DeSantis partying with high school girls. DeSantis responded by stating, "I spend my time delivering results for the people of Florida and fighting against Joe Biden. I don't spend my time trying to smear other Republicans." So whatever the situation is, I think Griffin might be right. I do think DeSantis is considering running. But he also knows that he's going to have to combat Trump, who is very good at sucking all the air out of a room with his approach and his atypical way of going about being political. So I'll keep you on the loop on if he announces anytime soon. It's official. China was spying on the United States of America, and even collected data over one of our military bases with nuclear weapons. Plus, Donald Trump releases a new pro-oil, pro-energy agenda, and people seem to be responding favorably to the idea of affordable energy. Well, Google suffered a major $100 billion stock valuation loss after it was proven that the new ChatGPT could return better search results. For the first time ever, Google has a real competitor to their search dominance. And Microsoft Corporation could become the next big shareholder of OpenAI. Plus, Disney has announced that their Disney Plus platform has reportedly lost over 2.4 million monthly subscribers. As parents worry that Disney is becoming too woke and pushing adult-themed topics on young children's minds. Now the House has approved a resolution to condemn China for using a spy balloon in American airspace. The resolution is meant to act as a warning that will force China to back down if they ever attempt to enter our airspace again. Before the vote took place, Republican Representative Michael McHale of Texas stated, "Our adversaries must believe then that if that a future incursion into American airspace by a spy balloon, or any other vehicle, will be met with decisive force, and this is why the House should pass this resolution." The resolution ended up passing 419 yeses and 0 noes. So seems everybody in Congress is against China spying on American citizens. Now China has responded to the United States by claiming that its conclusion is simply information warfare against China. However, top Pentagon officials have maintained that the balloon is in fact part of China's spy program. Now, according to a new report out today, the balloon had equipment for collecting communication data against you and me. It also appears that the balloon at some point stalled over a military base in the state of Montana, where the United States military houses nuclear silos. These are basically there are nuclear weapons ready to be fired at any moment, and the Chinese balloon stalled over this. We don't know if it was taking photos or collecting data or spying through listening into military personnel. So China was spying according to new reports out. We just don't know what information they collected, and so they're going to try to extrapolate that data from the equipment they collected, but China says they want their equipment back. Ukrainian President Zelensky has arrived in Europe and has made his plea to European leaders. Zelensky stated, "A Ukraine that is winning is going to be a member of the European Union that is winning." While America has taken a stand against providing Ukraine with fighter jets. EU Parliament President Roberta Metsola urged countries to go through with it. It seems fighter jets will be provided by European Union countries. As one Zelensky staff member stated, the question of long-range weaponry and fighter jets for Ukraine has been resolved. So Europe is ready to enter this war via proxy warfare by providing these fighter jets. Zelensky spoke in Parliament Hall to leaders of the United Kingdom in an attempt to get British fighter jets. Putin and the Kremlin have already warned the UK about entering into this war by supplying fighter jets of all the countries in Europe, Putin seems to have the most bad blood towards England. Now, the Kremlin said the UK will provoke retaliation from Russia and will prolong the war in Ukraine. They also said they will make things much more painful in Ukraine if these jets are handed over. So Russia is viewing this as England entering into a new world war, should they supply these fighter jets. And they say that it will provoke retaliation now. I'm hoping by provoke retaliation, Russia means on the jets and not actually on the City of London. But Putin warned Boris Johnson early in the war that he could take out London within minutes by just firing one hypersonic missile. So I'm not really sure where they're going with this. I don't want to look into it too much, or speculate too much. But it's hard not to when somebody says that they're going to retaliate. Is that on the weapon? Is that on the equipment? Is that on your city? I don't really know. We do know that Putin has ordered the Russian Federation army to target and annihilate, so it is likely that he will order retaliation and targeting of the fighter jets, and not necessarily England, or the United Kingdom. So again, I'm not really sure, but it's pretty scary stuff, to be honest. Now Zelensky seems to be barnstorming Europe for money and weapons, as he believes the big offensive attacks against Ukraine from Putin are in the future and not in the past. The bigger conflict and attacks are still to come. And so that's why he's working so hard now. To give context, Russia has 1,800 tanks, over 400 fighter jets and over 300 helicopters, not to mention 30,950 armed vehicles. So Zelensky, although he's doing a good job of getting military equipment from Europe and the United States, it pales in comparison to what Russia already has. And they have factories right now working 24 hours a day to create new military equipment, ammunition, and these are these terrible, terrible weapons. Now if you miss my interview with retired Colonel Douglas Macgregor, please go watch it. He talks about how little the United States and NATO care about Ukraine and how they will sacrifice Ukraine in an attempt to hurt or replace Vladimir Putin. So this is an ugly game of chess that Ukraine has been dragged into. Sadly, Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who beat Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, has been hospitalized. He had a stroke last year, which nearly cost him his life. But he decided to continue in politics and ended up winning. He has now been hospitalized with something going on with his brain and so anyway, if there's more of an update on that, I'll let you know. Donald Trump has touted new plans to revive the energy industry should he win as president in 2025. He stated, "I will deploy a team of warrior lawyers to hunt down every unnecessary regulation in the Federal Registry that hampers domestic production. And we will wipe them off the books." Trump argued that we have liquid gold right under our feet, and it should be used to our advantage to make our country safe and wealthy again. So he's basically saying, I am going to prop up big oil, and I'm going to make production easier, and I'm going to bring down the cost of all forms of energy. So while Biden seeks to get America off cheap gas and oil, Trump is taking the opposite tone, saying that he will push the strength in the country, workforce, national security, and make energy cheaper for Americans. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo took an opportunity to publicly blast President Biden for his open border policy. And yes, the border is open, according to Andrew Cuomo. And he says that the president has leaned too heavily on the kindness of New Yorkers, and has now filled their streets and their homeless shelters with illegal immigrants. So he's not happy and says Biden needs to take action now. French farmers plan to crowd the streets of Paris with tractors as the government continues to try to destroy small farmers and the ability to raise livestock. What do they think people are going to eat grass? By getting rid of these farmers, these chicken farmers, these cattle raisers, goat raisers, it's absolutely insane. Donald Trump is on the record saying Republicans are not going to go after Social Security. Kevin McCarthy, the current Speaker of the House, has also said the same thing on the record many times. Joe Biden, of course, claims to have the receipts and taunts all the Republicans who are booing him and calling him Maguire, saying, "Come to my office and I'll show you the receipts." What he's referencing is a policy that was being suggested by Florida Republican Rick Scott over a year ago that suggested Social Security and Medicare spending should be reviewed and revised every 5 years. This was a policy suggestion by one Republican. It never became law. It was one individual who proposed this. And the whole point of contention was that every year it should be reviewed and possibly reformed. And the whole point of contention was that every 5 years it would be reviewed. And if the Senate couldn't come to an agreement on a budget, Then essentially it would lapse, and Democrats are claiming that that policy, which was never passed, which was never adopted by the GOP, it was one suggestion by one individual, they're claiming that that amounts to Republicans trying to take away Social Security. No. What Republicans are trying to do is revise it every 5 years because these expensive government programs aren't being paid for in full. These programs are essentially going bankrupt. The Washington Post writes, Social Security will become insolvent by year 2023, or 2033, rather, and so you have one Republican politician who suggested that every 5 years the spending should be reviewed. It's more Democrat lies, Democrat fear-mongering, trying to pit one party against the other instead of coming together to find common-sense solution. You know, like running a government budget effectively, Joe Biden's entire speech was nothing but division lies and angry yelling, old man, this moment cross-representative jobs, a bunch of elitist politicians patting themselves on the back telling you how good of a job they're doing. As the state of the economy in the state of the country continues to spiral downwards. In other words, a massive slap in the face to pretty much every single American voter, and the media is trying to paint this picture as if Joe Biden did such a great job and that through this one speech filled with lies, nonsense and garbage, he's essentially cemented his position as the president and should run again in 2024 and win re-election. There's 2 words that I want to say right now, but I just can't. The first one starts with an F, the second one starts with a Y. That's just the Democrat machine being the Democrat machine. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're up for it, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching.